I think Gavin Shuker, who is who I was supposed to meet actually. Do you know I bumped into him? Chicken George. Do you know Chicken George? You know Chicken George? But you can't eat. Did you eat Chicken George? No, it's the only one Muslims don't eat in. Yeah. Yeah, you know about Chicken George. But yeah, I bumped into him. This is the problem that I see. I bumped into him in Chicken George, and I read up that at the House of Commons he held a Celebrate the Prophet Muhammad Day. Yeah, he organised it. So when I said, listen, Gavin, this is the first time I've seen you in 6 years. After everything that's gone on, everything you've stood on the TV and said about me, can we just have a word outside the chicken shop? I think I wasn't being aggressive or anything towards him. I said just a quick chat. So I said to him then, tell me what you know about the Prophet Muhammad. And he just looked at me blank. I goes, well, I know Muslims. And he said, well, I know. I goes, come on, mate. You held to Celebrate the Prophet Muhammad Day. What do you know about him? He said, well, I know Muslims respect him. I was just like, oh, come on, mate. What do you know about his life? What is it you wanted to celebrate about his life that you know? Just look blank. For me, as a non-Muslim, he's a non-Muslim. I said, that is pathetic. You're holding a day to celebrate who someone from a non-Muslim perspective, I see as an immoral man. Yeah? I'm not going to sit here and slate him. He's a prophet. Yeah? I see him as an immoral man. I see that he committed heinous acts. Yeah? All these different things that I see that you know nothing about, Gavin. What do you know about him? And he said, I said, so surely before you celebrate a man's day, you'd research him. I said, a lot of people admired Hitler, but you wouldn't celebrate a celebration of his life. But yeah, so Gavin Shuker, when he says both groups gave Luton a bad name, anything I did, anything we did, was a reaction. We were a reaction to a problem. If that problem had been dealt with, either by Gavin Shuker's government, by Gavin Shuker's Labour Party, who in fact now he's actually coming out now admitting that there's huge problems in the Labour Party in Luton with postal irregularities, voting and etc. etc. I think he said democracy's finished within the local Labour Party because of the way they're just using the system. But yeah, if his group and his government would have dealt with these problems, no one would have heard of Tommy Robinson. There would have never been an English Defence League. But his government and his local council's tactic was to appease and appease some more. And that led to the English Defence League. So if any of them have a bad or negative word to say about me or any of the group I formed, well, they need to realise that they created it. That it's their fault it happened. They made it. Yeah. So Gavin Shuker, if you're watching this, the English Defence League sole purpose and the reason it formed the UPL was to tackle and combat Anjem Choudhury's group. Yeah? And our tactics, I remember seeing Eric Pickles saying what sort of people would want to do this or what tactics, and all we were doing in the early days was following Al-Mujahideen. That's all we were doing. They were holding an Islamic roadshow across the UK. So what it was, so we had the United People of Luton and it was a Luton issue. And then I remember sitting on the internet and watching as the same group who have 6 weeks prior just disrupted the whole nation and spat in their soldiers' faces. And now 6 weeks later, they're standing in Birmingham City, outside the Bullring in the shopping centre, under a big massive banner that reads Jesus was a Muslim. And they're converting a 12-year-old kid called, or 11-year-old kid called Sean, who's just shopping with his mate. They've got him up on stage and they're saying, repeat after me. And they've made him convert to Islam. And they're all screaming Allah Akbar. And this is 6 weeks after what they did in Luton. So I think no one's even trying to stop this group. And this Islamic Roadshow, when I looked online, I thought they've got all these other dates. They had dates in Wood Green, they had dates across the UK that they're going to be basically doing this. And so that was simply how we started. After the soldiers' homecoming, there was a lot of tension. There was some of the extremist houses were attacked. The Luton Islamic Centre was firebombed. There seemed to be tit for tat things were banging it across for different groups in the town. Yeah. Now, because of all of this, in response to this, a large group from Luton Islamic Centre come out and confronted Al-Mujahideen after Friday prayers in Bury Park. There's a video of it, you can watch it. They come out and move on. Look what you're doing to our community. And I went home. This was when I was still under the name. I was using the name Wayne King. That was the name I was using at the time. But I went home and I emailed Luton Islamic Centre. This was before, if I'm honest, I wasn't opposed to Islam. Yeah, I wasn't at this point. At this point, I wasn't. I didn't know enough about it. Didn't know that much about it. At this point, I had a problem with these extremists that I've seen taking the piss. I had a problem with Luton Borough Council, which I felt was treating us as non-Muslims as second rate. I had a problem with lots of things that would have gone around social problems in the town. Yeah. So I went home and I emailed the imam at Luton Islamic Centre and just said like how encouraging it was what I saw today. Yeah. But I'm pissed off with your motives. But why I'm pissed off is because you've only come out and confronted them for the first time in 20 years because your mosque got blown up. Had we achieved what we wanted to achieve, we're never going to achieve what we want to achieve, because what I want to achieve is I want to stop the Islamisation of this country. I don't want to stop it. I want to de-Islamify it. So yeah, I've got a bit of a task ahead. But why did I leave?
Well, why was the EDL shut?
It wasn't shut down. The EDL was still going. In fact, I made predictions that were incorrect. I thought the EDL would be taken over by far right groups, more extreme, and it wasn't. They stayed true to the core belief that it was started on. Why did I leave? The truth? I left because I was forced to leave. That's the truth. I was in a situation where I was facing 3 to 5 years in prison for a crime I hadn't committed. The authorities had me in a position they wanted me in. I was offered a get out by Majid Nawaz. I was offered financial support for the duration of my prison sentence for my family. And for the first time in 5 years, I put my wife and children's security and stability before my belief. What do you think would happen to me if I walked through Berry Park? Honestly, being honest. Just because I'm being honest with every question. I always am in my interviews. Yeah? I'll be very honest about everything. What do you lads think would happen if I...
Looking at the current situation, I think you'd get back.
Do you think I'd get killed?
Possibly.
Yeah, I don't think one person would stop it.
Could do, yeah.
Yeah. I don't think anyone would stop it. I think everyone would join in. I think everyone would get out of every car or chicken shop or shop, and that's how I think it would roll. Yeah, and I don't think there'd be many people trying to stop it at all. So I think I'd get murdered if I walked through Luton. Now, I don't think there's any area in the UK that yourselves or anyone couldn't walk through. That's how I feel. I don't think there is, bruv. And I get, that's why I get so, it's like you keep saying, I said, well, there's loads of places I'm not safe. But Anjem Chowdhury is, or Saiful Islam is. He don't get his head kicked in walking around this town. Do you know what I mean? I said, so what do I think of Luton? I think Luton is I love Luton. Really love Luton. But I feel disappointed and disgusted at some of the things that have been allowed to happen to it. Who do I put at fault to that? Do I blame some of the Muslims who come here and want Sharia law? Not really, no. Why wouldn't they? I blame the council. I blame our authorities. I blame our pathetic, cowardice leaders who have sat and allowed this to happen. I blame the people who have encouraged these people and told them to come to this country, and it's okay to still have your beliefs. It's okay to still stick and tie to your culture, which promotes certain intolerances, whether it be to homosexuals or women. I don't blame a Muslim for wanting Sharia law. I think Luton is... Why do we have such a bad problem? Why is Luton so... I think a lot of that comes down to, I don't know where your family's originally from, but a lot of the Pakistanis in Luton are from Kashmir, yeah? Which is quite an uneducated, tribalistic sort of mindset. That's why we have a lot of problems. That's why I see it. Not just that, but this town was used by Al Mujahideen as their head office. Omar Bakri, Abu Hamza, they're all based here in the 80s. Before we knew what was going on. The Gulf invasion was probably the start of their leap. Look, the whole country views Luton as a shithole. That's the reality. Yeah? How do I feel about that? What part do I think I've played in that as well? I sat recently looking at looking at the plans for the future of Luton, a £1.5 billion project, yeah? I don't know if you looked into it. You know St Mary's Church, you know the new development, the town centre. Well, the work they're going to do is going to be great for Luton. I don't know if they'd have got that if it weren't for the EDL. That's how I feel. I genuinely feel. This amount of money that's being put into this town to give it a facelift, basically, because of the bad reputation we have. I think I've played my part in helping that. So, and I do. And I think it's going to be great for Luton when I look at the plans for the future. I still think we're going to face huge problems on it with relationships between Muslims and non-Muslims. I think we're going to continue. We're embedded with this problem, or your community certainly is embedded with this problem from jihad and radicalisation, and that's not going to go away. But will Luton? No, Luton's a blueprint for every other town and city. That's what people who are living in these other towns and cities like. They need to realise that the problems that have happened here are going to happen everywhere anyway. We've just faced them because our demographic has changed quite fast, quite quick, and we've been led by a pathetic Labour council. No, I think the police are weak, cowardly and pathetic at dealing with this issue. That's not just in Luton, that's nationally. You saw recently Manchester police offering an apology because in their terrorism drill someone shouted Allah Akbar. If there's a terrorist attack in this country, the person's going to shout Allah Akbar. So if you're doing a terrorist drill and you want it to be realistic, then you shouldn't be apologising for that. It's not our fault or the police's fault that it's not non-Muslims' fault that Allah Akbar, God is greater, has become a phrase known with murder and destruction. That's not our fault. I mean, that's Muslims who have used it. So the police for years. Say for example, I'll give you one example. I got an Osman warning by Beds Police, which they call me down to the police station and say, right, they read this bit of paper to me that said, members of the Bury Park community are enraged and angered by my recent TV productions, whatever, and we now have information and intelligence that suggests your life is in danger. We advise you to take your family, leave Luton for the foreseeable future and move to somewhere different. Yeah, this is from the police. So I said, give me that bit of paper. This in the police station. I want that bit of paper. And well, we're reading it to you. I said, no, I want that bit of paper. If that's a warning to me, I want the warning. Yeah? And I want it because I want everyone to see it anyway. And they know that. So then their faces are like, oh God. So they go, they come back I'm sitting in the police station about an hour. They come back and give me it. When they've reworded it, they've took Bury Park community out of it. Muslim, the word Muslim. So people are angry. Now, yeah. So the police intelligence tells them that members of the Muslim community from Bury Park are planning to kill me, but now when it comes to the warning that I'm given, they've taken that out. That's the problem. That's what I see. I said, you are the problem. You're scared, pathetic, and weak, because you should just be honest. Honest. If members of the Bury Park Muslim community want to kill me, then give me a bit of paper that says it. Don't be. It's political correctness plays too high of a part. In Luton and for years. And I don't blame every police officer, because most individual police officers, I think, hands are tied behind their back anyway.